Hi, my name's George Sachs, and today we're going to talk about overcommitment, one of the biggest challenges for adults with ADD. If you're like me, diagnosed late in life, you probably had a long history of letting people down, missing appointments, forgetting obligations, etc. And due to this, we have a strong urge to please. In fact, most of my life, I was a people pleaser. And it's embarrassing to say, but that is in fact true. Because many adults with ADD are people pleasers, we really want to overcome this fear that we're failing others. And because of that, we overcommit. When people ask us to do things, we raise our hands and say, yes, we can do it. When our bosses ask us to do things, undoubtedly we say, yes, we can do it. The problem is we often overcommit, leading to failure, and the cycle continues where others don't trust us, they don't ask us to do things, and they don't promote us. Okay, so if you admit to yourself that you have adult ADD and that you're prone to overcommitment, what can you do about this? Well, what I recommend is learn from one of the top, most successful men in the country. His name's Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett is quoted as saying that successful people say no often, but very successful people say no all the time. And this is something I coach my clients on, learning how to say no. Now, many people say, well, if I say no, people won't like me. But in fact, by saying no, you're setting the standard up front that you're somebody who can set limits with themselves and understands what they can accomplish and what they can't. Okay, so if you believe in the power of saying no, like Warren Buffett, how can you do it in a respectful and kind way that doesn't offend your friends or piss off your boss? I think it's important to have a few phrases available when you're asked to do something that you know you're just not going to be able to follow through with. Here are a few examples that I use and recommend to people. Somebody asks you to do something, you can say, I would love to help, but I'm in the middle of a number of projects right now and I'm really quite tapped out. Or, you know what, I'm just not taking on any new responsibilities or commitments right now. Or, my calendar is really full at the moment. Maybe somebody else might be better to ask. Or, I just don't have experience with that. Maybe somebody would be better qualified. Or, I have another commitment that on that day or that time, or I'm working on other commitments that really just take up too much time at the moment. Besides the phrases that I just mentioned, it's really helpful to simply say, let me think about it, or let me check my calendar. This will give you time to think about whether you can actually do the task or whatever's required. So that should give you a couple hours or a couple days to think about whether you can actually really do it and deliver. So again, the phrase is simply, let me think about it. This reminds me of a client I used to have who had a very hard time saying no. And she was stressing out unbelievably about a friend that wanted her to be the best woman, or what do you call it? The bridesmaid. No, the maid of honor for her wedding. And she was stressing out about this so much because she was overwhelmed with all the things she had to do and felt an obligation to say yes. But through our work, she was able to tell this friend that she's really overwhelmed at the moment and can't give this job the attention that her friend wanted or the friend deserved. And by doing this, the friend may have been upset for a little while, but she found another bridesmaid. And the most important part of this is that my client did not let her friend down by forgetting something or disappointing her or not giving her the time and attention she needed as the bridesmaid. So again, to review, adults with ADD have a problem with overcommitting due to a history of failure, missed appointments, missed obligations, and a need to please. So fight this feeling by learning how to say no, like Warren Buffett, and have a few phrases that are really, you can pull out very quickly and simply tell your friend, your boss, or your coworker that you really can't deliver on the task that is needed. Now, of course, if your boss asks you to do something and you absolutely have to do it, then we need to talk about that. So if you have to deliver and you have to do what your boss asks, really stop and think about what you can actually do. Set reasonable goals, and most importantly, manage your boss's expectations. Undersell and deliver and get the win to impress your boss. Okay, so the main thing here when you absolutely have to do something is to manage the other's expectations about what you can actually do and what you definitely can't. So this was today's lesson on overcommitment. To review, if you have adult ADD, you probably have a history of failures, which leads to a desire to please others and become a people pleaser, and thus agreeing to do things that you know, or maybe you don't know, but you probably won't be able to deliver on. This is called overcommitment. Remember a few phrases that you can use. The best one is simply, let me think about it. That'll give you time to actually decide if this is doable. Or let me check my calendar. Or, you know what, I'm really busy now. Or I have a lot of commitments on my plate. Maybe somebody might be better to do that. If your boss asks you and you absolutely have to do it, then what you really need to do is manage expectations. So stop and think about what's doable and what's not. Undersell so that you get the win and impress your boss, as opposed to overcommitting, people pleasing, and then failing to deliver on what your boss wants you to do. Thank you very much for listening to this lesson on overcommitment, and stay tuned for the next one.